So have you ever thought to yourself and was like, what if my life became just one big game? Well, that's exactly what this series is about, the gamer. So this series is something that has been highly requested for a very long time. I think ever since I really started to dive into like different types of content, people always requested me to actually read The Gamer because it was something that would be right down my alley of what I would enjoy, because I think everybody knows what I like to read. Everybody I think knows that I love to read like a transported to another world or reincarnated in another world type stories. I love fantasy stories. It's really interesting, and they can bring a lot of unique and thought-provoking subjects in the storytelling. And ever since people found out what I was kind of interested in, people have always recommended me to read The Gamer. And at long last, I finally decided to sit down, dedicate some time to actually reading The Gamer, and I'm actually surprised I haven't read it sooner, because it definitely hits all those ticks, all those boxes that I would want from a series like this, like a fantasy, Isekai series. It is exactly what I want. However, there is some uniqueness to The Gamer that does separate it from all the other stuff that I normally talk about, and one of the big aspects that separates it is that it is not transported to another world or reincarnated in another world. Our main male character, Jihan, somehow has obtained the ability to level up in real life. So to kind of explain this in simpler terms, imagine you're going by your day-to-day life. You get out of bed, you go get a cup of coffee, tea, whatever, getting breakfast, whatever you need to do. And all of a sudden, you notice that there is levels being stated above people's heads. You see what, like, they're associated with. You get to see your stat screen. You just wake up and you just start to see these things. Something out of a video game. And you're like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, when someone, let's say, asks you, hey, can you go get, some groceries from the store? You have a quest prompt pop up in your screen, and you can either deny or accept it. And if you accept it, you get EXP and you can level up. That's basically what this series is about. Our main male character has somehow stepped into a video game for his real life, and it isn't a VR game. He hasn't been transported. It's just his real life has turned into a game. So every little thing he does, like either studying or, let's say working out, it can actually help him grow and level up in real life. And since I'm on the subject of EXP levels and, just the character obtaining quest, I really love how the skill system works so far in The Gamer, because our main male character is able to obtain passive skills by doing things that, normal people would do in real life, but obviously since he's in a game, him being able to, just do something, he'll passively obtain certain stats or attributes that'll increase his level. Example, there is a moment that happens earlier on in The Gamer to where he encounters a slime, and the slime kind of has him gripped and he's stuck. But because of him being able to try to grapple the slime, he learns the ability basically to tear off, which allows him to literally rip off a chunk of an object that he grabs onto, which he does effectively to the slime to be able to win. And in turn, he does receive the ability to level up. And it kind of is a multi-thing. It lets us know that he gains more EXP from hunting monsters, but secondly, we also get other aspects that he gains passive skills by doing other things. For example, let's say like the tear off ability or observation, being able to observe others and actually gain more information on them because of his observation. There's little things like that, and I think that this is a really interesting aspect that the series is diving into. And also, on top of that, the level up system. And I really do wonder exactly how the level up system is going to work, because at basic, look at it, like if you look at it basically, it seems like if you upgrade your strength for whatever your power, you most likely will be able to lift things that are a lot heavier than normal. You might be able to lift cars or whatever, but what does the intelligence stat do? You would assume it would increase your IQ or to increase your ability to be able to solve homework or whatever quickly, but I do wonder exactly what all these attributes will have on an effect on our MC. Like, will he become like godlike in the future, or is there an upper limit to his overall power? Now, we don't know necessarily at this point in time, at least as far as I've read, his upper limit. However, However, if we're going by, like, how games are in general, and since this is called The Gamer, I'm going to assume that there might be an upper limit. Eventually, there is going to be a level cap, maybe level 99 or 99 in each individual stat. I feel like something like that's probably going to be the case. However, I have not seen that overall threshold and that cap and all that hard level cap, if it actually does indeed have a hard level cap. All I'm going to say right now, though, is that the series definitely has some uniqueness to it, and I do like the way the series has its own flair going on with the early portions of its story. Now, there is a few things that I do need to clarify, is that when you first get into the story, the artwork isn't the best. However, I did take a peek at later content, and if you kind of put them side by side, you do a comparison, the artwork has definitely improved 100 times over. Like, it is definitely night and day in terms of quality difference of just the artwork in general, and I love that. And that's one of the things I really love about reading these type of series, like something like, you know, The Gamer, or reading, let's say, Doombreaker, or Tower of God, because you really get to see the growth of the artists and how they evolve their art style throughout the long journey of the story. It's kind of like how Araki from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, how he has evolved his writing style from part 1 to where he's at now currently with his latest part. And that's what I like. I love seeing stuff like this, just the growth of an artist. And that's exactly what I'm probably going to get from The Gamer, seeing the growth of the artist and the storytelling as I continue to read. Which, speaking of story, this series is actually incredibly long. Like, I was shocked. Like, I knew it was going to be about maybe 200-something chapters, but when I actually took a look at it, I was like, whoa, there's like 5 seasons, hundreds of chapters of The Gamer. It's been ongoing for a long time. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, it's a big series. It really is a big series, and it's actually kind of rare. You don't normally get a lot of big series like this. Like, the only series that is comparable in my eyes that's, like, this long is, like, something like Tower of God. And just seeing how long The Gamer is, it really just goes to show it's been around for a long time, and that the artist has really been crafting this story for years upon years to get it to where it's currently at. So I feel like there is a lot. There is a lot that people can expect from the story, and that the writer is definitely probably taking their time and fleshing out all the different content that actually needs to be established and dived into, so I am looking forward to that. But let's get into the nitty-gritty and stuff that I know of, at least from what I've read so far, and kind of what is going on. So one of the big things that I am curious about when it comes to this story is how the actual general end-game of the story is going to be. Because as far as I've read right now, it's only kind of established that there could be summons, there could be different special creatures and stuff, like slimes. You know, you have other people that have special circumstances where they're probably affiliated with other individuals. You have this protective barrier like Field. You know, you got the typical stuff right there, but I wonder what the actual in-game plot is going to be. Like, what's it really going to start focusing on? Is it going to be like something to where the main character needs to join an organization and help them out against an opposing faction? Is there going to be, like, you know, a whole thing, a world-ending event, and that the characters need to power up to, let's say, stop a Demon King or something? I don't really know what the in-game plot is going to be at the point of how far I've read, but I do think that it does have a lot of flexibility, because since this is set in the real world and life basically became a game for the MC, I do wonder how far the writer is willing to push it. I'm going to assume the writer is a huge fan of games, just judging by the title. It's, I think, not a hard guess to make, but if the writer is a truly big fan of games, I wonder what type of games he's going to incorporate into it. Like, obviously RPGs, but, like, is he going to incorporate just fantasy? Is he going to incorporate sci-fi? Is he going to incorporate, let's say, like, I don't know, like an Eldritch Lovecraftian horror type series? That would be kind of cool. I would love to see something like that if it goes down that type of route, but there is a lot of uniqueness as I'm trying to get the point across, and I am so happy I finally sat down and gave it a read. It's good. It really is good, and I'm happy with what I've gotten so far, and I definitely want to continue reading it, because I definitely have a long journey ahead of me when it comes to reading The Gamer. Now, there is a few things I do want to talk about before I kind of wrap up the video, though. One thing in particular I noticed when I was reading, you know, the earlier chapters, is that the translations were a little bit spotty. I'm not even gonna lie. They were a little bit spotty in some areas, but it wasn't nothing too bad that really deterred me from enjoying the content or actually hating it or anything. I actually really liked what I read, but I do feel like when you look at, you know, the earlier chapters, you know, the translations definitely are spotty in comparison to the later content, which this is something that typically happens with older series like this. Like Tower of God is a good example. If you go back and you read Tower of God, you'll see certain areas in its translations that are spotty. body. And I feel like the Gamer is in the exact same circumstance, is that it's such an old series that it hasn't been like spell checked properly, but it does get better as it goes on. But before I kind of completely in this video, if you are interested in reading The Gamer, I will have the links in the description and in the comments. And on top of that, guys, if you do click on those links, it does help me out a lot. Just gonna keep transparent with all of you, helps me out and all that. But please be safe, stay healthy, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for you know, the recommendations as always to sit down and finally read this series. But with that, guys, be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.